Huzzah! Chris Cornell, AfterGlow. Dear Lord, thank you so much for TMZ. Thank you. Forgive us our sins. We acknowledge your Son, Jesus Christ. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Woo! Wait till you see this, if you haven't seen it yet. It seems TMZ has posted some pictures and more. I'm just going to read a couple small articles. And here's the picture. Who's that? That's Asia Argento and Bennett in bed together. Don't they look cozy? And look at the look on her face. Hence the title of the video, AfterGlow. Look at that look on her face. She looks so satisfied, doesn't she? So just euphoric, doesn't she? Look on his face is quite different. But she looks kind of euphoric. Let's read what it's about. Asia Argento in bed with 17-year-old boy in sexual encounter. And they've got the pictures to prove it. Asia Argento says she did not have sex with then 17-year-old Jimmy Bennett. But a photo and various text messages between Argento and a friend tell a very different story. Uh-oh. She flat out says she had sex with him. Uh-oh. This is one of 4 photos Bennett, now 22, took in Marina del Rey hotel room back in 2013. The then 37-year-old Argento and Bennett are on a bed shirtless. I thought it was just a friendship. Their heads on a pillow and their arms entangled. Sources tell TMZ the pic was taken after the two had intercourse. And I don't know, by the look on her face, what do you think? What do you think? Nah, they're just laying there in friendship, right? With their shirts off. Who knows if more clothes are off? We can't see. We can only see from mid-chest up. Sources tell TMZ the pic was taken after the two had intercourse. It's a crime in California for an adult to have sex with a person under 18. Bennett later threatened legal action, and in April, Argento settled with him for $380,000, which her boyfriend, Anthony Bourdain, paid. Isn't that great, ladies out there? When you can get your boyfriend to pay off the 17-year-old you balled? Isn't that great? What a nice guy Anthony is, or was, or is. Argento released a statement Tuesday saying, "I have never had any sexual relationship with Bennett." Let's look at that picture one more time. Remember, she said no sexual relationship. One more time. It's fucking priceless. It's fucking gold right there. Kind of contradicts what she says, right? And above are partial text exchanges between Argento and one of her friends. Argento and the friend went back and forth in the midst of the backlash from the New York Times story that ran Sunday about her and Bennett. Argento's messages are in gray. Her friends are in blue. Let me show you those. See those? Don't worry, I'm going to read them for you. Don't worry. Okay. In gray. So I guess that's Miss Argento. I had sex with him. It felt weird. I didn't know he was a minor until the shakedown letter. The public knows nothing, only what NYT wrote, which is one-sided. The shakedown letter. The horny kid jumped me. Get the fuck out of here! The horny kid jumped you. Get the fuck out of here! And I don't want to hear about no shakedown letter either. What's up with the photo taken in bed? That's what the friend says back. I haven't looked at these yet. I think that's one that will be harder to cushion. You think? Images are annoyingly assumption nation. I'm sorry. Get the fuck out of here. You can't cushion that, okay? The picture doesn't lie. The bitch looks like she just had sex. Come on. Then Argento says, you can see my tits. That's all. It doesn't mean shit. Bullshit, it don't mean shit. Why you got your tits out around a 17-year-old boy? That means something. That does mean shit. That's exactly what it means. He is standing up. Let me read that again. You can see my tits. That's all. It doesn't mean shit. He is standing up. On the other side, I guess this is Argento talking. When I was 17, I was with a 33-year-old man for years. Okay. I had just turned 17. That still doesn't mean it's legal, bitch. Still doesn't mean it's legal. If I lose my job, I will move to Africa or the Amazon forest. I want to be among the 90% of the world that doesn't give a fuck about this shit. Oh, I beg to differ. Smartphones are in the Amazon too. Trust me, they're every fucking where. You can't get away from social media. It's everywhere. Everywhere. And that's the way they like it. They want everyone with a smartphone in their pocket. You can move to wherever the fuck you want. People are still gonna know about it. And the picture doesn't fucking lie. This woman is insane. Oh, you can see my tits. That doesn't mean shit. Yes, it does, bitch. Yes, it does. Argento says Bennett wrote this note above on Ritz-Carlton Stationery, the hotel where they hooked up, and said, Asia, I love you with all my heart. So glad we met again. I'm so glad you're in my life. Jimmy. She texts her friend the note saying, he wrote me this afterwards and kept sending me unsolicited nudes all these years up until 2 weeks before the attorney's letter. Okay. Let's take a look at the letter. There it is. There it is. I love you with all my heart. So glad we met again, and I'm so glad you're in my life, Jimmy. With a smiley face at the bottom. Did you notice that little smiley face? This is a 17-year-old boy. Okay, remember that. And then there's text on the side here that she sent to her friend that basically say the same thing. I'll read it over. He wrote me this afterwards and kept sending me unsolicited nudes all these years up until 2 weeks before the attorney's letter. It wasn't raped, but I was frozen. He was on top of me. After he told me I had been his sexual fantasy since 12. Get the fuck out of here. You're telling me this 17-year-old boy had control of the situation? Get the fuck out of here. She's the one that invited him. I don't want to hear no bullshit about he was on top of her and she almost felt raped. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. She goes on to say, it wasn't raped, but I was frozen. He was on top of me after he told me I had been his sexual fantasy since age 12. Argento has accused Harvey Weinstein of rape and is one of the first women to come forward in the Me Too movement. Weinstein's lawyer, Ben Brafman, lashed out earlier this week saying, this development reveals a stunning level of hypocrisy by Asia Argento, one of the most vocal catalysts who sought to destroy Harvey Weinstein. And I completely agree with that statement. Bloody hypocrisy. As we reported, the LA County Sheriff's Department is reaching out to Bennett to determine if a criminal investigation is warranted. We reached out to Argento's lawyer. So far, no word back. Let's look at that picture one last time. And I just want to remind people, a lot of people may not like TMZ, but I do. And there's a reason, once again, like I've always said, why TMZ gets the shit first. 'Cause their envelope comes with the fat stack. That's why they get this stuff. One more time. Look at that. Look at that face. Nah, that's just a friendship, right? That's just a friendship. Now, let's take a look at another article quickly. One moment, please. This is from Vox. Asia Argento's response to sexual assault allegations is hugely troubling. Me Too survivors deserve better. Right there. I'm going to take a look at the picture real quick. See that? Okay, let's see what it says. Until this week, Asia Argento is one of the most powerful advocates for the Me Too movement. In May, she put sexual predators in the film industry on notice. Sexual predators like you, Asia? Did you put yourself on notice? Anyway, proclaiming, we know who you are, and we are not going to allow you to get away with it any longer. Then the New York Times reported that Argento had been accused of sexual assault by Jimmy Bennett, a young former co-star. And when the actress responded to those allegations in a statement on Tuesday, that Me Too advocate was nowhere to be found. Here's a quote. I have never had any sexual relationship with Bennett, Argento said in the statement sent to journalist Yashar Ali. You guys want to see that picture one more time? I think you do. One more time. Since that statement's in the article. One more time. I don't know. That picture kind of refutes that bloody statement, doesn't it? I don't know, you tell me. I was linked to him during several years by friendship only. Damn, do I need to show the picture again? Which ended when, subsequent to my exposure in the Weinstein case, Bennett, who was then undergoing severe economic problems and who had previously undertaken legal actions against his own family, requesting millions in damages, unexpectedly made an exorbitant request of money from me. As far as the boy's family and suing his own family, how many times have we heard the story of a child actor, their money being stolen by their money-grubbing fucking parents, their low-life fucking parents? How many times do we hear that story? They think it's their money. It ain't their money. It's the child actor's money. So I don't give a fuck that he sued his own parents, because that's the cliche of parents who put children in movies. It ain't just for the kid. It's for the parents. They want that green for themselves, while the kid does the fucking work. Anyway, On Wednesday, TMZ released a photo apparently showing Bennett and Argento shirtless in bed together. We just saw that. And texts, we saw those too, purportedly from Argento admitting to sex with Bennett. Argento has not been convicted of a crime. Bennett has not yet spoken publicly about his experiences. His allegations were contained in documents sent anonymously to the New York Times. Nonetheless, Argento's statement shares uncomfortable parallels with statements made by high-profile men accused of sexual misconduct as part of the Me Too movement. It gets better. From Donald Trump to Bill Cosby, powerful men accused of sexual misconduct or their representatives have frequently chosen to respond by denigrating their accusers. It seems now we're seeing a woman denigrating her accuser. By smearing the women who have accused them as liars or gold diggers. That's exactly what Argento's doing to this boy. These men damage the reputations of their accusers and contribute to a climate in which survivors of sexual misconduct are afraid to come forward. So, it seems Miss Argento's doing the same thing that men in power do when a woman accuses them of rape or sexual assault or sexual misconduct. They call the woman a gold digger or a liar. That's exactly what Argento's doing with her sexual assault allegations against this boy. Everyone deserves the right to respond to allegations, but Argento, one of the most prominent spokespeople for the Me Too movement, should be well versed in the potential impact of such responses. When she issues a statement that sounds like it could come from Cosby's defense team, it's doubly disheartening. I agree. Perhaps the most famous example of a man firing back with insults when accused of sexual misconduct is President Donald Trump. Here's a quote. "Every woman lied when they came forward to hurt my campaign," he said of his accusers in a speech in October 2016. "All of these liars will be sued after the election is over." After restaurant owner and former Apprentice contestant Summer Zervos stated publicly that Trump had kissed and touched her without her consent, Trump's campaign released a statement by her cousin John Barry, which accused Zervos of bad-mouthing Trump as a way to get famous. I can only imagine that Summer's actions today are nothing more than an attempt to regain the spotlight at Mr. Trump's expense, Barry said. Zervos responded by suing Trump for defamation. Trump is not the only person to respond to sexual misconduct accusations with accusations of his own. In a January interview with far-right conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, actor Steven Seagal said that women who had accused him of sexual misconduct had lied and been paid to lie about me with any evidence, any proof, any witnesses. He added that 40% of Me Too claims were false and that there is a whole force of people gathering around the world now putting in lots of money and lots of time into false claims of sexual misconduct. Sometimes it's the associates or representatives of the accused who make the counter accusations. At Bill Cosby's retrial for sexual assault in April, one of his attorneys called his accuser, Andrea Constand, a pathological liar and a con artist who had only accused him for money. Another Cosby attorney said of model Janice Dickinson, who had testified that Cosby assaulted her, "It sounds as if she slept with almost every single man on the planet." Meanwhile, Roy Moore's sister, Nancy Barksdale, said that the women who had reported that the senatorial candidate had pursued them when they were teenagers were lying and implied they were part of his opponent's efforts to hurt his campaign. "I think it was all lies. I've never in my 64 years on Earth seen such a dirty run campaign by the opponent. She said, "Every single woman is lying." Everyone deserves the right to respond publicly to public allegations made against them, but when those responses impugn the character of those who come forward, they can have devastating effects. Zervos' suit against Trump, which is ongoing, offers a clear explanation of these effects. Mr. Trump knew that his false, disparaging statements would be heard and read by people around the world, and that these women, including Summer Zervos, would be subjected to threats of violence, economic harm, and reputational damage, the suit says. Mr. Trump knowingly, intentionally, and maliciously threw each and every one of these women under the bus with conscious disregard of the impact that repeatedly calling them liars would have upon their lives and reputations. That's a great legal argument. I imagine Zervos will get paid quite well. The suit also says that Zervos' restaurant lost business as a result of Trump's comments. I'm sure it did. In her statement, Argento essentially paints Bennett as a grifter. She attempts to discredit him by writing that he took legal actions against his own family, presumably referring to a lawsuit referenced in Kim Severson's New York Times article about the allegations. According to Severson, Bennett said in that suit that his parents had cheated him out of $1.5 million, kept his possessions, and barred him from their family home. That case was settled in 2014, years before Bennett threatened to sue Argento. Again, that is the cliche story in Hollywood. Parents let their kids star in movies or whatever, and then the parents spend and keep the money. Look what happened to Brittany Murphy when she got older. Her parents wanted a piece of that fame, that money. Brittany wasn't even a child. I'm just saying, that's the cliche fucking story of parents bringing their kids to Hollywood to be actors and actresses. They want the fucking money. How many times have we heard that? Gary Coleman, another example. Anyway, her statement implies that this lawsuit was frivolous, but the suit, filed when Bennett was still a teenager, could also be read as a report of child abuse by a young actor. Bennett would not have been the first child star to have parents who misspent or co-opted his earnings. What did I just say? It's the cliche old fucking story. The parents are like, oh, this kid's our new bank account. Argento also accuses Bennett of using her to extort money from her boyfriend, the late Anthony Bourdain. Bennett knew that Bourdain, a television personality and author, was a man of great perceived wealth and had his own reputation as a beloved public figure to protect Argento. Right? This is such bullshit. Anthony was afraid of the possible negative publicity that such person whom he considered dangerous could have brought upon us. No, he was just worried that his girlfriend was going to look like a total scumbag and maybe get criminal charges put against her. So let me just pay the boy off so my girlfriend will go to fucking jail. Anthony's a really nice guy for fucking doing that, actually. Because she doesn't deserve it. Not whatsoever. She doesn't deserve that kind of help. Cases of sexual misconduct can be difficult to discuss publicly because they often lack witnesses. What's left are two people's diametrically opposed versions of events. It's natural that people who believe they have been falsely accused might want to explain why their accusers might have targeted them. But by casting doubt on his previous lawsuit and painting him as a destitute and dangerous scammer without any acknowledgement of the way her words might affect others who come forward about sexual misconduct, Argento does a disservice to the movement she has championed. Notably, her statement lacks any discussion of this movement or of the lessons she has learned through her advocacy. It's as though she doesn't see Bennett's report as part of Me Too. And maybe she doesn't. But if the movement is to be more than a temporary toppling of a few powerful men, then it needs to represent male survivors as well as female ones. and reckon with the possibility that women, and even women who have done important work on behalf of gender equality, may also have been perpetrators of sexual assault. By issuing her statement without any apparent consideration of the effect it might have, Argento has set back these efforts. The survivors who have spoken up as part of the Me Too movement might have expected better from her. I agree. Because, like this article says, what do all these men do, these powerful men like Trump, when some woman comes forward with the sexual assault allegations? They try and minimize the woman, make her look like a liar, a scammer. That's exactly what Miss Argento is doing to young Mr. Bennett. And I agree. I think it does damage the Me Too movement. And I agree that the Me Too movement should be about men and women. And I have a feeling it's going to be a lot more about men after this little incident. And I have a feeling before this little incident, it wasn't about men at all. But now it has to be. Equal rights, right? Gender equality, all that stuff. I agree, it should be about men and women. And let's look at that picture one last time. It's priceless. It's bloody priceless. Pictures never lie, do they? Look at the euphoria on her face. Look at the weird, confused look on the young boy's face. Who looks like they were in control there? Peace be ever with thee.